All right, hello and welcome here to Tinkle Sports Talk. We're back one more time here before our nice little summer break. Boy, we got a lot of news for you this week.
Oh yeah, and probably some unexpected news too.
Yeah, shoot, I don't think I've ever seen a sheet this long. And I hope we, I love it, but I hope we don't see a sheet this long again for not recording in 5 days. Don't get
I
me
know.
wrong, I love it, but, you know, oh man. But anyway, coming up on the show today, we've got some NFL news. A guy says he's not quite done with football yet. You'll find out that name very soon. We've also got NBA free agency news to cover. We've also got we got very small Olympic news. Of course, we got MLB news. The trade deadline happened last week. Of course, we recorded before that, so now we're going to get you up to date on the on MLB trade deadline deals. And then, of course, we got Tinkle on this. But before we get going, again, a reminder, this is our final show before the summer break that we are taking. So we will be back September 8th with a NFL kickoff special. It'll be our prediction show for the NFL season. All the basically the full 10 yards and whatnot. But in the meantime, we hope you'll check out Facebook and Instagram. We'll probably do a bunch of updates over on that end in that month off. And of course, our show will return on September 12th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Nice little break, kind of needed. I was just telling
Yeah.
I was just telling Jason I slept 8 hours last night. I'm still tired. So that should tell you a lot. But anyway, let's get moving. Oh, by the way, Out of Turn 4 will return on Tuesday, and that will continue through the end of the racing season, which is in November, and then that show will take a nice long break, much longer than this show's break. So, yeah. Anyway, now let's get going. That guy, of course, Mr. Dadgummit himself, Phillip Rivers, he announced the other day he's not quite done with football yet. He said, "I'm out of shape. I probably wouldn't have made weight entering camp, but I'm just starting to get back into shape." And this is quite a surprising headline to come out. Actually, this is quite a coincidental headline to come out, seeing that the teams are in camp. I'm going to skip a story ahead here. Carson Wentz is out 5 to 12 weeks after having surgery on a broken foot. I just got to say, I think a reunion with the Colts is very likely.
Yeah, I think so too, but it's not right away. Like what you said, if he's not prepared for training camp, it's probably not best to bring him in and sign a deal right now. Because you do that, you basically like, well, we gotta get you into camp. Sorry, Philip, but kind of have to, learn the offense all over again. I guess it's gonna be intriguing to see who is going to be stepping up in the time that Carson Wentz is hurt. Can it be Eason? Can it be somebody else? I have no idea. All I know is the young Jacob Eason out of Washington needs to definitely be ready for what's going to be coming, and that is to start possibly week 1.
Oh, yeah, he's got to be ready. Of course, here's the thing. If I'm the Colts, though, and I hear the statement, I think I'm getting on the phone with Phillip Rivers right now, and I'm saying, hey, man, come play with us right now. I know you're not in shape. We got like 3 to 4 weeks before the season actually starts. Let's, plenty of time to get in shape, plenty of time to get ready. And to be honest, he's only been retired for like 7 months right now. It's not like he's been retired for 3-4 years and is trying to come back. It's not like John Kitna, who came back like a year or two later. It's not like Josh McCown, who came back, after about a year away. There's still time to get ready, and if anyone can do it, it's Phillip Rivers. Right now, if they asked him to play in a preseason game, there's no way he'd be ready to go. This would be a high injury risk to begin with. But, it's very apparent the Colts are not going to trade, at least not right now. They're not going to trade for a veteran quarterback. And frankly, after hearing this news, why would you? I mean, to be honest, you trade for like Nick Foles. You're adding to the cap problem there. Not to mention, and keep in mind it is a lower cap this season, and then you're just complicating things.
Right. I mean, it's weird because I mean, this is not true, but I've been seeing a lot of talk that Mitchell Trubisky's name has gone in the fold. Oh, well, why don't the Colts try to go after him? He's a NFL, he's a backup right now to Josh Allen, but he's a proven starter. Yeah, he can come in for that time frame to come in and play, and he can prove that he can be a guy. But the problem is, he would have to learn a whole new offense, like he's already doing with the Bills. So you would have to bring him in, tell him, oh, well, by the way, that offense that you were learning with the Bills, throw that out the window. You're going to have to learn a whole new offense. Like, that's going to confuse the heck out of him. It's just better to bring in a guy like Phillip Rivers, who already knows the offense, has already been in there in the system. So it's not like you would have to tell him, oh yeah, by the way, we're changing things up. No, you go in there and be like, you already know the offense, you already know a bunch of these guys that are here, you know what to do. So him signing a 1, maybe 2-year deal or so to come back and play for the Colts for the time that Carson Wentz is hurt makes the most sense to me, because he already knows the offense. He already knows a lot of the guys that he's playing with. Maybe there's some new guys that he has to get well acquainted with, but it should be no time. And if there's any time for him to get into shape, it's now. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't absolutely have to take the practice field. He could be on the sidelines working out.
See, now's the time to do it, because if you do it mid-season, you're setting yourself up for failure at that point, because you're going to basically come in, you're going to have to crash course everything. You're going to have to crash course, you're going to have to learn, right on the fly, and that's asking a lot of anyone, really. Trubisky coming in, I'm against it, because, let's face it, Trubisky has shown in the past he's a slow learner when it comes to NFL offenses. I just don't think he'd be able to pick it up in time. Regardless of who the Colts trade for, they're at a massive disadvantage. The good news is that this division, outside of the Titans, they have a good shot at battling for the wild card still. I don't think all is lost for them, because it is the AFC still. There's still a little bit more of a gap in the competition, but it's certainly going to put them at a disadvantage. I wouldn't rule out a 9-8 finish at the end of the season, because I could definitely see a 2-5 start, and then. But I just hope one thing, and I hope Frank Reich doesn't get the blame for this, because we know how good of a coach Frank Reich is.
Right.
And he shouldn't get blamed for a poor start, nor a poor finish, because this was just an unfortunate circumstance. But at the end of the day, the Eagles won that trade, I guess you can say now, because they just gave away the Trojan horse at quarterback. I mean, they basically said, here you go, here's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We'll just take a couple draft picks from you. And sure enough, the Trojan horse is all hiding inside that Trojan horse, and I saw the meme already, is all those injuries that you had to worry about.
I know.
But I just don't know if Eason's the guy, though.
All I know is the Colts better hope it's only 5 weeks. Because the worst case, okay, now the question I have is, see, what if it is worst case 12 weeks? That's really putting a damper on your plans.
But don't being give yourself deja vu.
See if they miss playoffs. They somehow get to be a very high top seed, do you think, you're Frank, right? You're seeing, okay, he's going to be possibly out 12 weeks. Say he is out 12 weeks. Do you think it's probably time to go after a rookie quarterback just in case if, Carson Wentz isn't the guy that we were, thinking he's going to be because he's had these injury problems?
It's going to come down to that, I think, at the end of the day. I just don't see how it wouldn't. But, I mean, Jacob Eason, for all intents and purposes, was supposed to be the guy this year. That's the reason they drafted him, I believe, on day 2 or day 3 last year. But it's very apparent he's not ready to go. I know they got Brent Hundley on the roster right now. He's obviously proven that he's nowhere near starting capabilities in the NFL, which is a shame because, he really only had one shot. But,
but at least he's started before, so that's at least a little bit better than Jacob Eason, who didn't even get the chance to yet.
I read something somewhere, too, that Mariota could be in play for the Colts. Now, that would probably be a good trade to make, because...
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think if you look at Marcus Mariota, that would be about a lateral move, because Carson Wentz and Marcus Mariota are kind of on the same level when it comes to talent. I think they're both very... But here's the thing, they have two things in common. They're both pretty talented quarterbacks, but boy, do they have a high injury concern.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know we don't have fantasy football listed, but I think this is going to deter a lot of people from taking T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I know this deters me.
Big risk.
We do have fantasy football drafts in our time off as well. Should have noted that. Maybe two, but currently we definitely have one on our plate.
Well, definitely one for right now. But yeah, you're right. I think it definitely deters people from going after T.Y. Hilton. If you're hearing this now, and if you are one of them that want to take that risk, all for you. All for you. Just don't come back to us and be like, but my team didn't win one single game.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We told you so.
But the problem is now the Colts are going to be in a tough situation because let's say he is out 5 weeks. Of course, that's the 3 preseason games. I believe they got a week off before the NFL season then. And then it's off to the races.
I don't think so. I think
I don't know how it works this year, but let's see, because Hall of Fame game was Thursday, so that means preseason starts probably the 12th, then the 19th, then the 26th, so that's 3 weeks right there, so they do have a week off before the actual season starts.
Which is probably nice to them because usually they don't get a week off before after preseason. They go right into the season.
Yeah,
so
here's the thing. So
losing that extra preseason game actually is pretty beneficial to a lot of teams because you get that week off to prepare for whoever is going to stay on your team. And I would assume that week before the season starts is their who gets cut period. So they get longer, more time to cut players.
So let's see. We go about 5 weeks out. That's about week 2, week 3.
Yeah.
I think right there it's not, looking at it now, it's debatable if you trade for a quarterback. I mean, if you have to just survive 2 weeks, but here's the thing though, there are setbacks and you don't want to wait till week 2 and then go 0-2 and be like, Carson, I know you're at 60%, but we need you back right now. Because look at what happened when they did that with Nick Foles under center struggling the year after the Super Bowl. That didn't work out in their favor. So they don't want to rush this back. So at the same time, it's a toss-up of what you want to do here.
It's probably best to go after a quarterback, just in case if it does end up plaguing.
I think it's an insurance policy.
This could very well end his entire rest of the year too. We don't know that either. Like, he
Yeah.
could very well be out all 17 games heading into next year. Yes, just because it says 5 to 12 weeks doesn't mean
There's
he's going to have
setbacks.
a lot of setbacks
Mm.
in his, in his way. So we don't
Yeah.
know if he's exactly even going to play this year. So if for insurance policy, it's best to go after um, another quarterback.
Yeah.
Now,
With
as
that,
far as fantasy teams, if there's anybody to get, it's
Hmm.
probably this guy.
yeah, I was about to say, let's move it forward here. Nick Chubb is definitely a guy you want to get. Man, he just signed a big deal. I believe it was 4 years, 36 mil, something like that.
Somewhere in that range.
But yeah, Jason, I'm gonna let you answer first. Is he a top 10 running back in the NFL?
I think so.
See,
Definitely, I wouldn't say top 5, but definitely top 10 running back in the NFL.
see,
Because there's definitely a lot of guys, over him. Derrick Henry.
well, Derrick Henry
is
is number
of them.
one.
Of course, I'm not gonna go in a big list
Mhm.
of who is the top 10 running backs.
Maybe we'll
in the
do that on
NFL
our
today.
kickoff special and the debate.
Probably,
So,
probably.
but
But you know what? The thoughts on it, I think he deserves it.
What?
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 Nothing. I think he deserves the contract
See-
extension because he is nothing but been, the greatest running back they've had in a while. I mean,
see,
plus he can help that team go even further this year compared to last year. I mean, you get him, you get an OBJ that's coming back from injury. Hopefully, he's gonna be fully healthy. Um,
Hmm.
and then you have Jarvis Landry. So I mean, you got
and you
some
still have
talent.
Kareem Hunt.
So I mean, they can only build from here. And to lock up Nick Chubb was probably the best move they could have ever made right there.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Now here's the thing, I wouldn't put him top 5, only because let's face it, he's in a tandem running back situation right now.
Yeah.
Okay, if he could do it on his own, I would put him top 5. Now, I'm not saying that makes him any less of a running. I know that sounds like it makes him look like less of a running back than he is, because he really is one of the best in the league. It's just
Right.
the matter of fact. Here's the thing. He's great. Like, I'm not going to say he's the best because there's two guys there that are just as good. Kareem Hunt. I think that makes them the best duo in the NFL. I think there's no denying that they're the best running back duo right now.
Right, and then who knows? Maybe in our kickoff we can
Yeah.
talk about best duos when it comes to wide receivers.
Oh yeah.
And maybe running backs,
See,
and maybe quarterback and wide receiver duos. Who knows?
but I'm excited. Cleveland is just starting to become that destination that players want to go to win. I know we talked about, and we're probably going to talk about who runs what conference. Where you have to go to get to the Super Bowl. But Cleveland is slowly emerging as that team that is going to be the team to get through to go to a Super Bowl. They're slowly emerging to that point. And
Yeah,
I think
honestly,
Stefanski's that guy.
I think the teams that might be for the AFC, I mean, as much as we want to not admit it, probably the Chiefs, probably the Browns, the Bills, the Titans, are probably like the 4 teams of the AFC that you would want to go to possibly fight for one.
Yeah.
And then the NFC is probably just the Bucks at this point. I hate to admit it.
Again, we'll talk about this on the kickoff show in exactly a month from today, by the way. September 8th. And we're on
How
August
odd
8th.
is that?
We're on August 8th. So we just got to wait 30 days, and then we'll tell you the full story. But
Exactly. It was just a teaser.
But there we go. Justin Houston also signed a pretty decent deal, 1-year deal. He's going to boost the Ravens' defense. You know, I guess this is a signing they needed. I don't know much about the Ravens' defense, but they could probably use some help, especially seeing that their offense is all running backs.
Justin Houston is a pretty good defensive end. He can, bring pressure to the quarterbacks when he needs to. So it's definitely a guy that they need. I mean, because they used to have guys like Doomerville, like Ed Reed, like Ray Lewis. They had guys like that, and they had such a great defense. To get a guy like Justin Houston is probably the guy that can remind them a lot of Ray Lewis. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're exactly the same player, but I think that he can definitely bring an impact, bring pressure to the quarterback that they probably need for the Ravens. Because, their offense is good. Their defense has been kind of slacking. Yes, they have Marcus Peters. Yes, they have a lot of other good guys on the defense. But to have a guy that can bring pressure off the edge is probably somebody that they've needed for quite some time. As far as being the same player since his time in the Chiefs, I have no idea. I don't think so. He's really dropped off ever since then. Hence why he can't stay on a team longer than a year at this point.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say the same thing. I don't think he's the same player, but I think he can definitely, at the very least, provide that leadership that they need. Let's face it, Melvin Ingram's in the same boat with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's probably not, let's face it, I've talked to a friend who is a Steelers fan. We both kind of agree he's not going to be that impact player, but he is going to bring a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, and quite frankly, I think he could help put TJ Watt as one of the best pass rushers in the game. I mean, he did that for Joey Bosa. I think he made Joey Bosa a better pass rusher than he is. And without a doubt, he can do the same for TJ Watt. And I'm excited to see what happens there. Maybe Justin Houston can do the same for some of these younger guys in Baltimore with any luck.
I think so, too. And I'm just going to make a note. Of course, whose team are they going to go up against, in week 1 with a tandem duo? My team, unfortunately, which...
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Will Melvin Ingram stay healthy? That's the big question. Of course, he's had some injury. He's had some big injury concerns. So, but
of course, if you want to know, we can talk more about that in our kickoff show.
Yeah,
I had that noted. We didn't actually talk about it, but we'll probably talk about it a little bit more. But what we do want to talk about, which is an interesting topic in upstate New York.
Here's one I can actually provide good feedback on.
The Bills plan on making a new stadium. Now, the thing about it is they were threatening to move to Austin, Texas, but the county had no idea about it at all. They were clueless about the thought about them moving to Austin, Texas, by the way, which is a big no-no. You want to like, oh yeah, we're going to go to Austin, Texas, and then they're like, whoa, you didn't tell us this. This is kind of a big surprise here. What do you mean you're going to move to Austin, Texas and not let us know about it? Whoa.
Yeah, that's quite a shot out of left field. But let's face it, this is something I've done research on, so maybe I should start with this. But, for those who don't know what public funding is, of course, public funding is when the county and the government has to pay for the new facility for a sports team. I don't believe the sports team pays them back, but instead they lease the property. So kind of like, for example, the Rochester Red Wings, they lease Frontier Field. The Pagulas lease Blue Cross Arena. Just for those who live around Rochester, New York, those are good examples of it. They have to lease the property from the county of which they belong to in order to use it. And of course, the Pegulas want $1.1 billion to build this new outdoor stadium, or they're threatening to move to Austin, Texas. First off, how do you know Texas won't pay for, I mean, they'd probably play in the Alamo Dome down there, but I think, this is a threat that's so stupid. It's so pointless, because at the end of the day, we don't need another Texas team. It's going to screw up the divisions.
No, I agree.
And they have a pretty good stadium in Buffalo right now. They have the Highmark Field there.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I just personally don't think the government should give them that money, because they really haven't played fair with Monroe County with Blue Cross Arena. Keep in mind, the Pegula Sports and Entertainment operates Blue Cross Arena here in Rochester, New York, and they won't even let the county use the property for things. There was a funeral. They wouldn't let to my knowledge, there was a funeral for a fallen soldier that they wouldn't even let the county lease the or use the building for it. So, at the end of the day, I mean, looking at this and seeing their track record of not allowing people to use the facilities, I don't think that they should even be allowed to use it. And if they're going to move anywhere because they don't get the money, they should move to Toronto. Okay? They should move to Toronto. They've already got a good market out there. Bills fans, let's face it, Bills fans are probably the most loyal fan base in all of football. And there's really no contest there. If you move them to Toronto, they'll still show up. You move them to Austin, Texas, you're going to lose a whole fan base.
Yeah, I think so, but like we said, the Bills fans travel just about as good as like the Steelers fans do. So I think there would, I mean, not saying that there wouldn't still be, but you're just going to piss off upstate New York so much if you move them out of New York. Toronto is still technically North America, so it's not like it's a big move. The only thing that's going to suck is a lot of people are going to have to get enhanced
not to mention test
licenses. Yeah, and that too.
For at least the next year or so. Who knows?
So it's just easier to keep it in Orchard Park, and move it downtown. I mean, there was a lot of plans for, it's going to be downtown Buffalo. It was going to be somewhere in Orchard Park. I just think, why don't you just renovate the stadium that you already have? It'll be a lot cheaper. Yes,
Exactly.
The Bills probably do need a new stadium eventually, because that stadium has been around forever at this point. But start with the small stuff and then eventually get to the bigger stuff. Because right now, that stadium's not falling down anytime soon.
Look, I mean, I grade it based on the way that, first off, we know how the Raiders stadium looked before they left Oakland. Okay, that stadium, there was no renovations you could do that would save that stadium because it was just falling apart. I don't see Bills Stadium looking like that. Granted,
No, not at all.
look, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't get a new stadium. Let's face it, it's not Lambeau Field, it's not Soldier Field. It's not like Fenway Park where it's or Wrigley Field where it's a national monument and, it's a staple. It's one you could tear down easily and not feel the guilt of it, because it's not really a historical landmark. But again, I just don't, they're kind of just putting the county in a lose-lose, because let's face it, Erie County doesn't have the money to build them a stadium. At least I don't think so, without hiking taxes up. But then of course if they leave Erie County, or they leave Buffalo in general, it's going to kill the upstate economy. Because let's face it, the Bills bring in a lot of money to upstate New York. So I just...
Yeah, they do.
You know, but again, if they move to Toronto, keep in mind where you play is where you get taxed. So, again, like Bills, you know, so for income tax, if you play a game in New York, you have to pay New York state tax. If you play in Texas against the Cowboys, you have to pay the Texas state tax on your paycheck.
Right.
Toronto's is pretty substantially high. Maybe that's why they're not considering it, but Toronto, of course, with that high tax, that could very well hurt the Bills. Austin, Texas, probably not a huge destination for the Bills, because let's face it, Texas is not a huge destination for football players right now, unless you're Jerry Jones and not afraid to open up the pocketbooks an extra $20 million.
Right.
You know, Buffalo's not a hot destination, but their fan base is what is the attraction, as well as Josh Allen. So,
well, and there's a lot of players that are wanting to come and play, and then a lot of them says, well, they always get, well, what brought you here? Well, the fans won. You know, playing to win a championship is kind of one. So it's definitely gotten a lot better as of late. That, you know, players actually want to play there. Yes, a lot of their players right now are ones that they drafted, but a lot of the players that they have signed over the years, like, you know, Beasley and Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders, a lot of them came in from free agency and said, well, the reason I signed here is because, well, Diggs got traded, but, I mean, the ones that did get signed said that they came here to, you know, for one goal in mind and win a championship for Buffalo. For Buffalo, not for Texas, not for Austin, but for Buffalo itself.
Yeah.
So you know what, NFL? Do the right thing and keep the stadium in Buffalo.
yeah.
Goodell, do the right thing. I know
Right.
you say you want a new stadium for the Bills, and the right thing would be to keep it in Buffalo.
And Terry and all the owners looking at new stadiums, do the right thing. Stop making the county pay for your stadiums, okay? Pay for it out of your pocket, or, you know what, leave. That simple. That's just my opinion. If you don't like it, leave. You know,
Exactly.
they shouldn't have to pay for your stadium. You know, we shouldn't have to pay for your stadium, okay? We already pay admission. We already pay for souvenirs. You're generating a lot of profit on this, okay? This is just kind of your easy way out of having to pay for it. So, man up and just pay for it. If you can't pay for it, take out a loan, okay? I'm sure a bank would loan you the money in a heartbeat if you got good credit. But don't be asking for the government to pay for your endeavors. That's all I gotta say. Is that public funding crap is such a waste of time to begin with.
I agree.
Anyway, let's move forward here to some NBA news.
Yeah. Oh, man. I tell ya. I thought, you know, one big three with LeBron was bad enough. Now, do you think that with Russell Westbrook going to the Lakers, it's going to be another big three all over again?
I think maybe 3 years ago it would have been a good big three, because let's face it, Russell Westbrook 3 years ago was unstoppable.
Yes, he has. Ever since he's left OKC, he has not really been the same, honestly.
Yeah, but I think definitely he can be a contributor, and I think he's honestly, there's no argument here that he is the best point guard LeBron has had with him. You know, I don't...
That's tough to tell, because I think him and Kemba were really good.
No, LeBron didn't play with Kemba.
Oh, not Kemba. I mean, you know what I meant.
Yeah,
Say,
Kyrie.
Kyrie. Him and Kyrie were really
I don't
good
know.
together in Cleveland.
See, I would take Russell Westbrook over Kyrie just on the fact of all the triple-doubles. I mean, let's
The
face it.
problem is Russell Westbrook is gonna. I mean, yes, he'll pass the ball and stuff, I think, but he's too arrogant of a player. I just don't like. I know they say like, well, he's not as arrogant as you think he is. Yes, the hell he is. He is really arrogant. He's gonna think that he's the freaking all-star on a team when it's truly supposed to be LeBron, even though AD is there too. But the thing is, like, I just don't see it meshing. But the thing is, like, seeing the other guys that they brought in, Rizzo's back with the Lakers after, some time away. Kent Basemore's also back. Dwight Howard's also back. Melo joining up with the Lakers doesn't shock me at all. Malik Monk, they're just going after anybody, and I hate to say it. I know I
They
skipped
have
one.
one of the oldest
With
teams.
LeBron, I think LeBron is definitely having a big say in all these guys coming in.
The
And I think the
GM.
real reason why, yeah, he's a real GM. Come on now.
He
He might
should
not
be a
have that
GM.
destination. He's going to be one of these days. Come on.
Come on, he would be an excellent GM for a team. Let's face it, because he knows how to bring talent in.
I know he knows how to bring talent in, but it's a lot of veteran players that are basically really past their prime. Ariza past his prime. Melo,
Melo's
yes,
kind of
he's
had a
still-
resurgence. Melo's had a resurgence.
He can still play, but like he's kind of getting to that point. Bazemore, he's all right. He's a young player, but he's not really a big contributor. Dwight Howard, yeah, he helped the Lakers win the
Let's not
championship
forget
a
Marc
couple
Gasol.
years back. Marc Gasol is still there. I mean, Horton, Tucker, back. So, I mean, they're doing whatever they can with what they have, but a lot of those are under minimum contracts, like the veteran minimum contracts. So, of course, LeBron, Westbrook, and AD are the ones that are making the most bank. But having a surrounding cast like that actually is not bad.
Yeah.
Can they be a finals contributor? I'm not too sure.
It's
It's
still
tough
the
to
West.
tell. I know it's still the West. You still got the Suns that are out there at large. The Jazz that are still out there at large. A lot of other teams we don't know about. The Mavericks. The Mavericks could still be in the fold. The Clippers, we do not know as of yet. I'm not going to go into that discussion about the Clippers. I'm not going to talk about anything about Kawhi Leonard because we do not know what's going on with him. There's a lot of speculation that he's going to re-sign, but I'm not going to go into any further detail about that. But as of now, it's looking very promising that the Lakers are definitely going to be back in that finals fold and not miss the playoffs.
I think it's finals or bust for this roster, but what my biggest question is going to be, keep in mind, LeBron had in Miami when he had his best team that he's ever played with. When he had the best team he's ever played with in Miami, he had a coach that could manage those egos. How is Frank Vogel going to manage this is going to be the big question mark on this.
That's also the other
because
question. That's also the other big question.
let's face it, the egos now in the game are much, much greater than the egos 10 years ago when LeBron was in Miami. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens with those egos because, of course, if they go in there with high egos and, especially Westbrook, if he goes in there with a high ego, you can kiss goodbye to any run at the title.
And honestly, Westbrook has that big ego. He's played for teams that, how that man does not have a ring by now is beyond me because he's played on some great teams in his NBA career.
Well, they fell apart
minus maybe
in 2012.
the Wizards, but the Thunder, he had a great team. Yes, they fell short, in that finals.
They were choke
But
artists.
he had great teams with the Thunder. Yeah, they had that Western Conference Finals appearance in 2011, and then again with the Golden State Warriors in 2017. No, 2016, 2017. It was one of those years that, still had. Oh no, 2015. It was the year before Katie joined them.
Mm-hmm.
Western Conference Finals between the Thunder. I mean, like, they had teams that, like, they couldn't just get past. So, to see Russell Westbrook going to the Lakers kind of just seems like a cop-out to, like, well, I might as well join up with the best. It just seems like he's desperate for a ring at this point, and he'll do anything he can.
And he thinks, well, let's face it, everyone knows if you pair up with LeBron, you almost got a full... You've got a little short of a guarantee of going to an NBA Finals at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like I said, everyone can shit on LeBron and say, well, he can't win without superstars, but that's the game today. Okay? Let's face it.
Unfortunately.
Let's face it. The Bucks, they were carried by Giannis. Okay? And they didn't really play, they played a Western Conference team that didn't have a super team. Okay.
And that's what made this, this last season so great. It was two teams that didn't have to put together super teams that got into the finals.
But let's face it, you can make the argument as well that the Suns only made it there because of all the injuries that happened on the teams they were playing. Okay, you could fully make that argument.
If this was how it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be Lakers and Nets. And not saying that the Nets won't still be in that discussion. Of course, they definitely will be. But the Lakers, after they see that last year with, them getting hurt, they had to do whatever they could.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was so hell-bent on getting rid of Kyle Kuzma, but I just feel bad for Kuzma. I just don't think he got that time to really develop his game even further. Like, it just sounded like LeBron was just fed up with him. And
I think LeBron knows he's 30.
Seems like,
yep.
This seems like just like the Cleveland Cavaliers time, where he basically traded away all that roster. This is what this reminds me of. Like, he gets rid of all those guys that he knows that aren't going to be great contributors, and then bring in guys that he knows can be. But we've seen this before. They didn't do very well with that. Do you think that the same outcome is going to happen with the Lakers this year?
Well, I'm telling you, LeBron's in his late 30s. He knows he doesn't have much more time in this league. So, let's face it, he did what he had to do. The team did what they had to do, It's just like the Yankees, okay? At the end of the day, it's the same thing as the Yankees. They do what they know can help them win now. And let's face it, the Lakers are in a win now. And if you're not contributing, bye-bye. But anyway, we got to get moving here. We're starting to fall a little behind. So let's move on to the Bulls here.
Yeah, Lonzo, DeMar, teams of Zach LaVine. I think they're kind of primed for a playoff run. It seems like a better Chicago Bulls team that I've seen in a while. Yeah, Lonzo Ball might not be the best player. DeMar DeRozan's also kind of getting past his prime there. Not like he was with the Raptors. But teaming up with Zach LaVine, who has been nothing but an all-star for the Chicago Bulls, might just help them out. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think they're not... I think it's kind of a fluke, to be honest. Like, I'm not buying the Bulls as a team that can compete for the second round. Okay, let's go with the second round here. I'm not buying that they can compete for the second round, let alone work their way out of the play-in, the joke of a play-in tournament. Let's face it, they've had issues for years, and they think that loading up on guards is going to help them, and frankly, I'm not buying it, because Lonzo's kind of a bust at a guard to begin with. So,
right. With the East being weak, I can see them making playoffs.
Yeah.
As far as being away from the play-in tournament, probably not.
No, I think they're just setting themselves up to be one and done. Okay.
Right.
Let's face it.
Now, for a team All
Okay,
right.
yeah,
Go ahead about Zach LaVine.
Oh, no. I was going to say, Zach LaVine is a talented player, but man, he's been screwed his whole career. He's always ended up on a team that can't make a run.
I agree. Now, a team that could very well be on some kind of run as a late man, your Heat are looking like they're poised to maybe again. Jimmy Butler ends up re-signing on a huge contract, like a supermax contract, 4 years. And then Kyle Lowry in a sign-and trade from the Raptors to the Heat for Goran Dragic. Now, I tell you what, Brian.
Sorry to the
Also,
audio listeners.
Oladipo also back. Now, when you hear Kyle Lowry on the Heat, do you think that the Heat might have won a trade over the Raptors? And second point, are they in store for possibly the fight with the Bucks?
There's no doubt that if Tyler Hero can overcome his sophomore slump, that they can make a run at this. I think there's no denying that. Now, I don't think it's as much about the Bucks as it's going to be about the Nets, because now the Nets they're going to have a full year together. Keep in mind, this super team was assembled kind of about 20% of the way through the season. So
right,
they didn't really have the off season to get that chemistry going. Now they have another pretty short off season to get things going. Which, by the way, I'm predicting a lot of big injuries are going to happen to open up the season, because you got players coming back from Tokyo as well for the Olympics. So I already don't like what the NBA's doing, but that's a side point. I don't think anybody won the trade necessarily, because, let's face it, the Raptors are going to get a very, very talented guard, I believe in Goran Dragic.
Yeah, they are.
So they're getting a talented veteran point guard. Now, Lowry's a little more talented than Goran Dragic, but does he bring that experience is going to be the real big question, because that's something Goran didn't lack in, is experience.
Right.
As far as the Butler deal, he was overpaid. There's no denying that.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
He was big time overpaid. He's never proven whatsoever that he's worth that kind of money. Okay, he's not worth Steph Curry. He's not worth LeBron. He's not worth KD type money. He's, and not to mention, I would say he's more of a sidekick than he is the all-star, and I don't think that this is right that the Heat are making him out to be an all-star.
No, I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure he signed a big old contract like this before with the Bulls, back when it was him and Derek. But the big difference between that situation and now is, back in that situation, he was that kind of all-star. He was putting up a production every single year. The only difference with this year is he came off a second year in Miami where he didn't do anything at all. Maybe in his first year with the Heat, yes, you could have gave him that kind of money. But after that kind of second year where you didn't even make playoffs at all, right? I think they missed out on it.
I think we made it this past year. And then we lost we lost second round to the Bucks.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
swept.
I think he definitely deserves.
Sorry about that. Sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish your point here.
No, I think I'm done with my point. Now, I was quite shocked about this situation. Just because he just got traded away from the Celtics, well, guess what? His contract is getting bought out by the team he got traded to, and now he's going to the Knicks. As far as...
And he's going to join a team with a good point guard.
Yeah. But Julius Randle's more of a forward than he is a guard, though.
I'm talking Derrick Rose.
Oh. Well, you can still make it work. You could have Kemba being, like, the point or have him as a shooting guard. You put Rose at point guard. You put Julius Randle at small forward. Then I don't know. It's gonna be weird how this is gonna all work. I guess I don't know if he would come off the. I think he would start and then Rose would come off the bench. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I just want to point out, I'm just doing this because I'm just shaking my head. It's not that I'm not feeling good. It's just I'm shaking my head at this. You know, this is kind of just, I don't know. They're trying to form another super team in New York, I think. And let's face it, it's kind of the discount super team compared to the Brooklyn Nets. Because, let's face it, they're not going to be anywhere even close to the Nets at the end of the year.
No, not at all.
It's literally Walmart super team here. Because Derrick Rose hasn't been that relevant since his injuries.
Nope.
You know, Julius Randle's kind of that fringe star. Kemba Walker is a great point guard. I think he's a good point guard. Maybe he finds his traction there. I don't know. But he's kind of, you know, I mean, keep in mind, he did average 23 points a game. So it's not like he's really lost it, per se. It's just a matter of, is that going to be enough to lead the Knicks?
I don't think he absolutely has to even be the top scorer because that was definitely Randle last year. Not saying that the Knicks don't have a terrible team. I mean, they have Rose that's kind of getting back into form before his injuries. You have R.J. Barrett. That's been nothing but good for them ever since he's come out of Duke. Now you bring in Kemba Walker, who is a 4-time All-Star that can bring in production. I mean, it's a pretty young team. Maybe minus Derrick Rose because he's in his 30s and whatnot.
Yeah.
But to me, I think you have the right pieces that kind of compete in the East, but you're definitely not getting anything past maybe 4th or 5th place in the East.
I think this whole Eastern Conference runs through 2 teams. I'm not even going to say the Miami Heat because I don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Hero in his 3rd year. It's going to run through the Brooklyn Nets and obviously the Milwaukee Bucks. It's going to run through those 2 teams.
If I was to run down teams that might run through, the Bucks, the Nets, the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks. I completely forgot about them. I'm gonna say though,
and probably one other. Honestly, I'm gonna say
the dark horses are the Celtics and the Heat. And that's my honest prediction. The dark horses.
I wouldn't even say the Celtics. The Celtics haven't really been that relevant of a team. They really haven't been doing anything in free agency, which makes me beg to differ. What the hell were the Celtics thinking in having Brad Stevens as their GM when he's done absolutely nothing but dismantle that?
Is he going to play Sean McDermott? Is he going to play Sean McDermott and say trust the process? No, that's the big question.
I guess so.
Trust the process, Jason. Trust the process. But oh man.
But on that note, I think it's time for an anchor and canteen break.
Our final break before the break here. So when we come back, we're gonna kind of wrap up the Olympics. We don't have much news that we can share because we're recording on Wednesday, unfortunately. But we'll share obviously the biggest news out of the Olympics as of Wednesday. We're also going to get you caught up on the MLB trade deadline deals and, of course, Tinkle on this. That's all coming up. We'll be back in just a minute after the break. All right, welcome back. The final stretch here. No big rush to get to vacation, but the final stretch before our break. We did get some breaking news, by the way, on NFL on Fox's thing. So they've officially announced their broadcast teams for the new season. Just thought you might like to know this. So Tom Rinaldi's going to be joining America's Game of the Week. That's a good one, honestly. Tom Rinaldi did an okay job last season. Someone told me the other day that they hate Aaron Andrews. I don't know how anyone could hate Aaron Andrews. She's so wonderful at what she does.
I'm sorry, but those fans that don't like her can definitely
Yeah.
get out of the Discord right now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, get out of the Discord, just delete your accounts, get off social media. But anyway, we look on down, the big changes here. Kevin Burkhardt will be joined by Greg Olson, the former Panthers tight end, in the booth. Of course, then you look further down. This one should just be Tinkle on this for the week, but it's not. Kevin Kugler will be joined by Mark Sanchez, the butt fumbler. And then, of course, Laura Oakman. But here might be the biggest team, and I know everyone loves this guy. Gus Johnson. He's going to be joining select weeks where they have a pretty big schedule of football games he'll be joining. And he'll be joined by the guy who loves yanking chains off of players' necks, Aqib Talib. And then, of course, Megan Olivia will be the other sideline reporter. So, pretty interesting stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. Very interesting duos, very interesting announcer teams. But
hey, I'm just glad to see
I guess
Gus
we don't
Johnson.
have any say in that matter.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see Gus Johnson call an NFL game. That's going to be great. But let's move on, though, to the Olympics here. Simone Biles, she, of course... Now, mind you, we recorded Tinkle Olympic Zone every Sunday, or the last 2 Sundays. This news came out literally right before the premiere on Tuesday afternoon. Simone Biles returned for the final event in women's gymnastics. She won the bronze on the balance beam. And some other news came out today that she dealt with the passing of her aunt during the Olympics, which may very well have contributed to her anxiety and whatnot. But Simone Biles,
Right.
on the Today Show, I believe it was either this morning or the morning before that, she announced that she is not ruling out a 2024 return to the Olympics. Mind you, Simone Biles will be 27 at the next Olympics. Jason, I guess I gotta ask you first off, what's your thoughts on that news?
Oh, I think it's the best move for her to go into 2024 because, like we said before, the athlete side of her is, I can't be proud of, just going out with bronze in the final event. I want to come back and get as much, I guess the rumor had it that she was primed to go get 6 golds in this Olympics. Well, guess what? The 6 golds didn't happen. So, her in 2024, that could be the mindset. It's like, I can put, a lot of this past me, put this Olympic run past me, sad, God rest her soul, her aunt's passing
my
behind her,
condolences
too.
to her family, by the way.
Yes, mine, too. And then go out in 2024 better, refreshed, and a better human being in general. And mental health, hopefully in check by then. I don't want to go too deep into that.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to come out in 2024 physically and mentally 10 times better than she did this year. And who knows, she could win a lot of gold in 2024 for that Olympic run.
We had a 46-year-old in female gymnastics this season in the Olympics. I'm not ruling that out. I think that's a big possibility that she could consider that return. And if she, it may not be in as many events as she did before, but she might return. I wouldn't rule it out. And I think that at the very least, if she doesn't return, she should have some part in Team USA's gymnastics program for years to come. So,
right.
I think, though, that would definitely put to rest kind of her, thoughts, maybe those thoughts of, hey, like, I didn't, I missed out on this opportunity and whatnot. But hopefully, again, she'll have a part in the next Olympics. But I guess I know you didn't watch much of the Olympics. I didn't either. But what are your final thoughts on Tokyo 2021?
I'm just thinking that, there was definitely a bunch of people that showed up, and I guess I was just very disappointed in USA's run this year. Like, I thought they would have done a little bit better in its Olympic run, and it's they won a lot of gold and won a lot of medals, but the thing is like you kind of see it and like, wow, what the heck happened? It was almost like a big drop off from 2016.
See, I think soccer was the biggest surprise out of everything, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree.
Women's soccer seemed like a shoo-in. And then, of course, the penalty that will go down in infamy, of course. I believe one of the Canada kickers got kicked inside the box. And that led to the penalty kick against the goalie who replaced the injured starting goalie for the U.S. That led to the goal that ended the game. I think, without a doubt, that penalty will go down in infamy for the U.S. Of course, their first loss to Canada in 20 years. That was disappointing. I think, but at the same time, as we look at the disappointments, I mean, the basketball program had a couple losses. I don't know what they medaled in. Again, we recorded on Wednesday, so factor that in. We don't know if they won gold. We don't know if they even medaled, let alone that. But they had some stiff competition. Spain brought the competition to them. I believe they lost to France. They lost a couple games. I think as much as we can be disappointed that they lost all these games, I think we can take away from this that it's finally good to see Team USA have that competition in these events. Because let's face it, they've run the table in some sports, and it's nice to see these other countries finally step up and actually have a shot at beating the U.S. Slovenia, for one.
Yeah. I was quite shocked about them. Especially since they beat Spain.
Yeah, which was shocking because they really weren't doing too hot. But
so honestly, it wouldn't shock me to see Slovenia win gold. It would be the first time ever in their country too.
Yeah, again, we don't know what happened, so that's all we can say. I'm sure by now the medals have been awarded in that sport. But
I think so too.
I'm excited to see what happens with Beijing 2022, which of course is 6 months from now.
Oh.
So that should be pretty fun to watch.
So you know what? I guess I was right about January?
Well, we're in August, so it's February.
Okay, well.
But let's move forward here. If you're a baseball fan, this is the moment you've been waiting for. All the deals, and of course we're going to break them down. But before we do that, we have some news that kind of happened in our backyard this past week. Last Saturday, Daniel Brito of the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, of course that is the Phillies farm team for those who don't know, he collapsed during the first inning of the baseball game here at Frontier Field in Rochester, New York. The third base coach had to catch him. Of course, he went through 2 surgeries this past week and is currently in stable condition. His family just came in from Venezuela to be by his side. But again, the good news is that he's in stable condition right now. Both weekend games, the last weekend in Rochester, were postponed. As a result, the Red Wings showing class. Of course, Red Wings players and staff signing him a huge jersey. And then, of course, at Wednesday's game, they had a giant card outside for fans to sign and send their well wishes to Daniel Brito and his family. First off, I just got to say, this is why we love Rochester. This is why we love Western New York. The sports fans, this may not be the biggest market in the world, and it's far from it, but the fans have nothing but class when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it shows.
I'm glad that they did something like that.
Yeah, and it shows as well just how well we can get along. Of course, we live in a divided nation right now on politics, but it shows that we can unite for one big thing. And of course, it showed as well when Andy Dalton got donated a bunch of wings for helping the Bills win their first playoff appearance in 17 years. They also get
all I know is he better have enjoyed all those free wings,
and not to mention all those donations to his charity. But
it's very true.
I gotta applaud it. This is why I love living where I live right now. But of course, our thoughts and prayers with Daniel Brito during this time. We did talk about it on Olympic Zone as well. But again, glad to hear the news that he is in stable condition, and we will bring you hopefully any updates over social media as we get them available. Of course, we don't really have much thoughts on this, I'm sure, other than just great move by Rochester to show class during this time of bad news, I guess.
Right.
But on to the trade deadline. Let's get going here. Big news here. The Cubs, of all teams, cleared house. Javier Baez to the Mets, Anthony Rizzo to the Yankees, and Chris Bryant to the Giants. I know your brother's thoughts because he's a big Cubs fan.
Right.
Let me run through it in order of how I announced them. Good riddance was his reaction to Baez. Damn to Anthony Rizzo. And just straight anger to Chris Bryant. So, what's your thoughts on this?
See, the funny thing is, I know he has really said crap about Baez, but you know what? I hate to say it, I think he ended up in the best situation because he hit, in his first game with the Mets, he hit a home run. That's kind of sounding better than what the other two guys have done already. Yes, Baez is a better defenseman. He's better out in the outfield than he is as a hitter. As my brother has noted, I guess he swings at everything. I don't know how true that is, but I think his batting average is actually one of the better ones in the MLB. So I think his situation's better in the Mets.
I think he's just got a general. I think he's just got a general hate for Javier Baez. I don't think Baez is that bad. Let's face it.
Which is hilarious because all three of those players helped the Cubs win in 2016. Yep. So I don't know why he's got that crap on Baez.
Cleveland Indians blew a 3-1 lead. Just throwing that out there. How can they be the Guardians when they blew a 3-1 lead?
Exactly.
But Anthony Rizzo to the Yankees. I don't think that was the best situation for him, seeing how close that division is. Same with the Baez to the Mets. I think Chris Bryant won that deal, ultimately. We know he's still young. We know he's a very talented player. And let's face it, the Giants are in a tough division too. But I think the Giants needed someone like Chris Bryant. I don't think the Yankees needed somebody like Rizzo. This was kind of just desperation. And then Baez to the Mets, I think, is a close second to Chris Bryant to the Giants because the Mets, again, in a close division. Let's face it, the Nationals have already conceded. The Marlins are probably not going to be there in a few weeks. So it's going to be between the Braves and the Mets, and I think this gives them the edge over the Braves.
Yeah, I would agree.
But the other big news, and here's a trade I did not expect, honestly. Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, key pieces in the Nationals' 2019 championship run, they're now gone to the Dodgers, the defending champs in MLB. I got nothing more to say than wow. Is just it. What's your thoughts here?
Well, it sounds like to me is the Dodgers are trying anything that they can to repeat.
Hey, Scherzer's their guy, honestly. And then Trey Turner, a big piece on the offense, as well as the defensive side. But Scherzer, oh my goodness. This is a huge ad for them in the pitching rotation. So, I'm excited to see what they do now. And this could, again, give them the edge to beat the Padres and beat the Giants in that division. But here's another one. We knew this trade was coming because, let's face it, the Twins are battling for the basement, which they're going to lose because the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. But Barrios was dealt to the Blue Jays in exchange for the Blue Jays' top prospects. I think this can definitely help the Blue Jays get into the wild card. Of course, the Red Sox and the Rays are struggling right now. This could very well put them in the battle for the division, but I'm going to be safe and say the wild card.
Yeah, I would definitely say the wild card. Blue Jays are usually like a playoff team in some way of the sense every year, so
At least
playing
the
for
last
a wild
few.
card wouldn't shock me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
And of course, Eddie Rosario, this was a big Twins loss this offseason. He was dealt to the Cleveland Baseball Club. Now he was dealt to the Atlanta Braves. And of course, he struggled with the Cleveland Baseball Club. Jason, does he regain his form with the Atlanta Braves here?
hopefully. It's always tough to kind of regain form with a lot of teams when you already have been playing like dirt. So
Yeah.
time will only tell, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
It's-
Time will only tell.
It's typical of Twins players to leave Minnesota. It's typical of Twins players to leave Minnesota and kind of play average or mediocre at their new clubs. So he's just following along with the trend right now. But I certainly hope that he does get back on track with the Braves. We'll see. But with that, how's about one more for the road of Tinkle on this? Of course, I know you're not a big racing fan, but here's a big kind of shake your head moment and a complete loss of awareness. Ross Chastain, now keep in mind, I've met Ross Chastain. He's a very nice guy, very animated driver, and of course, I can't wait to see him. I'm actually at the Watkins Glen race as you guys are watching this premiere, enjoying the birthday beer, but yeah, Ross Chastain announced he was going to be running the truck race at Watkins Glen on his social media page, to which Bob Pockris, the Fox Sports reporter, and others chimed in and told him, hey Ross, there's only 8 races left in the truck season, and by the rules, you're not eligible to run in the Truck Series race at Watkins Glen. So a few hours later, he had to backtrack it, but of course he handled it with class. He posted a meme of, I will pay closer attention to the NASCAR rulebook. You know that Bart Simpson one where he's writing on the chalkboard multiple times? Whatnot.
Yeah.
he took it with class, I would say. But it's not all lost. Of course, his younger brother, Chad Chastain, who has never run a race in his NASCAR, or in his racing career, in the NASCAR Premier Series, he will be replacing older brother Ross in the number 45 for Nice Motorsports, or he did on Saturday, I should say. Of course, I'll have the full recap on Out of Turn 4 on Tuesday, but Ross, for the love of God, pay attention to the rules, my friend. Come on.
Yeah, please.
Come on.
Come on.
You're not the New England
Can't be
Patriots.
that hard.
You're not the New England Patriots. Pay attention to you're not the Houston Astros. There's no rules that are above you. So for that, Ross.
Hey, you're not. No. Get it right. You're not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Man, yeah, you're breathing in whatever you're watering those watermelons with. And for that, Ross, I say tinkle on this, bud. So, oh man. Bittersweet moment here. Now we're off for a month.
Yeah, it's...
Well,
don't miss us
off,
too much.
Off with an asterisk next to it. Because, again, we'll be back maybe on August 21st at 8 p.m. for our first fantasy draft of the season. You know, of course, we need more people, guys. We need 5 more teams. That's all we need. Spread the word. Okay, let's get this league on the roll here. 5 more teams minimum is what we need. The draft is Saturday, August 21st at 8 p.m. If not, we will have another draft here, but it is not an open league. It is a private league. We'll have a draft on Saturday, August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern that will live stream here on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment. So it's not a total loss, but we sure hope that you guys will join the one that's on August 21st. And of course, join the Tinkle Group Discord for more details. Again, we're off for a month. We'll be back September 8th with our NFL Kickoff Show. I know Jason and I are both excited. We've been kind of teasing away the last few weeks here, but expect a really good show.
We'll go more into detail about it.
Of course. Expect a good show. I mean, if we're just giving little details now, expect a really good show on September 8th.
Yes.
So,
yeah, definitely.
Again, all platforms. If you're on audio, you will actually be able to watch this one. So please tune in for that. And then, of course, our show will return fully starting September 12th, which, of course, will have probably a lot to discuss if we don't do Facebook or Instagram in the month off, but we'll have a lot to bring you. Again, just the reasoning behind it, we needed a break, I think. I definitely needed a break.
No, I think I needed a break as well,
yeah,
to be honest.
Then, of course, again, we're at this point in the year. I mean, the Olympics is over, but the series that, or the sports that are active right now compared to inactive outweighs active right now. So that's why we're kind of just taking a break right now. We will be back again September 12th. We hope you will be here. We hope you don't go away. But check out our social media, and we'll be back in exactly a month from now. Until then, guys, enjoy the month off.